Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm Di and today I am bringing you another Yarnie update. This is Yarnie update 14. I don't normally tell you what day I'm filming just in case it takes a little bit longer for me to edit, but it is the 4th of July today, so that is why I am wearing my Rocket Pop t-shirt. I just thought it was fitting for the day, and yeah, it's the 4th of July and I've got a few things to share with you today, not as many as last month, but I have been dealing with a little bit of pain in my hands and arms. I do deal with this periodically, and for some reason during the summertime it seems to exacerbate the issue. But needless to say, on those days when I'm dealing with pain, I am not able to stitch as much as I would like. Those days are the hardest for me because there's nothing that I'd rather do than to sit down and knit on something, work on something. And for some reason, those are the days that I really, really want to get some work done on a specific project. And so, yeah, it's been a little bit frustrating, but I do have some things to share with you. I have 3 works in progress. One of which you've seen before, 2 of which you have not, and I do have 1 finished object. So let's get into it. The first work in progress I will share with you is my tiny window socks. I did finish one of them. So this is the design, or my design if you will, that I came up with based on the that's what I named it. It is the honeycomb stroller blanket. I will link it down in the description box below. At the end of what I'm sharing with you today, I will be talking a little bit about the links below, so just keep that in mind as we go through. But yes, links will be down in the description box below. So this is kind of the design I came up with because I really enjoyed the stitch pattern for the honeycomb stroller blanket, but I don't need another blanket. I wanted to put it on a pair of socks, and so after tinkering around with the stitch pattern, I came up with this design, and I'm calling it my tiny window socks. This is what it looks like. And it just looks like tiny windows. I'm using Kay Jones umbrella socks pattern, so I did do this one toe up, and I'll put it on a blocker for you so that you get a little bit of an idea of what it will look like. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And so here we go. So I did also incorporate her umbrella heel. I did not block this yet, so that's why the heel is a little bit scrunched up. I did decide to do the heel in the background color of the sock instead of black, just because of where I had marked to cut in the heel. There was 1 row of this color, and so instead of having the 1 row and then a black heel, I thought I'd just do it all. Plus black is really hard to see when you're stitching it, and so yeah, so far so good. I'm very happy with this. I decided to use a 3-in-1 rib, and I used an elastic bind off. I am still not completely happy with this type of bind off for a sock. I did try a couple other bind offs, and I'm not happy with those either. So at this point, because I am still new to doing toe-up socks, I'm still trying to find a nice stretchy bind off so that it's not really tight around my leg. This one does flare quite a bit, and then when I have it on, it is still flared. it's not loose, the sock still stays up, but it is still flared. So on the next one, I'm going to try to use the same technique, but do it a little bit tighter and see if that works a little better for me. But so far so good. I'm happy with this. I do like the design. This one is done in Knit Picks Stroll Fingering in black and Knit Picks Stroll Fingering Tonal in the Pacific Tonal colorway. So yeah, these are my tiny window socks. My next work in progress you have not seen yet, but I was inspired to cast on this project because Jana over at Purl Together was doing a knit along for this. This is the Campside Cardigan, and it is a design by Alicia Plummer. I have not done a design by Alicia Plummer yet, and this particular pattern was on my radar because I had seen Sarah from over on Steeped in Books. She has a mainly booktube channel now. She used to run a knitting podcast also, but now she's only doing booktube, but she does share some of her knitted items still. If you're interested in checking her out, I'll link her down in the description box below. But she had done one of these a year or so ago, maybe a couple years ago. And so it has been a pattern that's been on my radar. And when Jana at Purl Together had announced that she was going to do a knit along for it, I decided to jump in. So I will show you where I am at on this. So this is a cardigan that is knit flat. I am doing it in a green color. So I have already split for the sleeves, and I'm working down the body. It does have this lovely eyelet design on it, and I'm just about ready to start doing the bottom portion of the body. Let me see if I can get. This is 100% merino yarn from Lion brand. When I was looking for yarns to do this sweater, I had to buy some because this is a DK weight sweater, and I don't usually buy DK weight yarn. I could have doubled up a couple different skeins of fingering weight, but I didn't want to do that, and I wanted a solid sweater to be able to use multi-purposely, if you will, and I didn't want black. I do have a sweater's quantity of blackish yarn to make myself a sweater, but that was worsted weight, so that wouldn't have worked with this pattern. And so I did end up purchasing some yarn for this project. I haven't really looked at Lion Brand's website up until now, but I do buy their yarn from the big box stores like Joann's and Michael's every once in a while, but I never really perused their website, even though I knew that they did offer several other types of yarn. So with the way things are in the world right now, I decided to go ahead and take a look at their website to see if they had some 100% wool yarn in a DK weight, and they did. They have a very small selection of colors, but I had found this one. So this is the Lion Brand LB Collection 100% Superwash Merino. It looks like this. And this is in, I believe the colorway is Hunter. Doesn't say on the ball band, but I am pretty sure that I bought this in, oh yes, it does. It says Hunter. So this is in Hunter. And I really like this yarn. It's very nice to work with. It's nice and squishy. And so far so good. I'm really liking the stitch definition that I'm getting with this. And it feels great. This should block out rather nicely. And yeah, so I would say I'm about at least halfway down the body, if not a little bit more. And yeah, so far so good. So this is my Campside Cardi by Alicia Plummer. As I had mentioned earlier, I was doing this in conjunction with a knit along that Jana from over at Pearl Together was hosting. But I believe the knit along is done. I should know better. I am not the greatest at keeping up with knit alongs, if you will. I tend to get really inspired to do projects though when people announce knit along, so that's a good thing. I do either put the project on my list of patterns to check out in the future or things like that. Sometimes, like with this one, I get really inspired to do it. It's a pattern that has been on my radar, or maybe I even have the pattern already and just hadn't found the time to do it. Knit alongs like that really help to inspire me to finally work on a project, if you will. But I'm never the greatest at finishing on time. But that's okay. I'm still happily working away on this project. I'm definitely going to be happy with the finished item, I am sure. And yeah, so that is my Campside Cardi. The last work in progress I have to share with you is my daughter's Clipped Crows Fly Again socks. I am making her a pair of socks to match my Clipped Crows Fly Again sweater that I had shown in, I believe it was last month's Yarnie update. She explicitly stated early on that she wanted a pair of socks that would match, and so I am complying with that request. This is just a plain vanilla sock, 44 stitches on a 2.75 millimeter needle, and I'm using all of the colors that I had used in my Clipped Crows Fly Again sweater to depict the teams, except I did have to take out one of the teams because there wasn't enough room on the sock for them. But that is on the second sock that I took that one out. So this one matches the sleeve of my sweater. If you recall, my sweater, the bottom of the sweater where the wrist was started here and worked its way up. She wanted the teams to go the other way, so that's what I did. This is 15 rows of 2x2 ribbing, 10 rows of each color. I did a slip stitch heel flap and a French heel turn, and then continued down to the bottom. I did try a new toe technique. I had seen this one on Roxanne Richardson's channel. It is the toe of 4 points, I believe it's called. Again, linked down in the description box below. And it is just a little short. But my daughter says the sock still fits okay. And so, yeah, I've done the first sock. I have started on the second one. Let me pull it out for you. I'm just about one stripe away from putting in the heel. So this is where I am with the second sock. And yeah, so far so good. Using up yarn from another project. Always great in my book. I will still have tons of leftovers because, as I mentioned in my previous video, I did purchase all of the yarn for that, and the only color that I used up almost everything is this this gray color. So I will have plenty left over of all of the other colors. So maybe I'll do something scrappy with it, or I'll definitely have it for like contrasting heels and toes on other projects. So that is my daughter's Clipped Crows Fly Again socks. Now I have one finished item to share with you. And these are my mom's All Is Calm umbrella socks. All Is Calm is a pattern that was done by Kay from the Bakery Bears podcast. I am one of their patrons, and at Christmas time a couple years ago, Kay released this pattern as a patron Christmas present. The pattern is written top down, but I went ahead and used her umbrella socks pattern to do it toe up because my mom wanted to see how this heel fit her. I could have done it top down and then just put in the afterthought heel after, but that's okay. So this is what it looks like. You can see that there's a bit of eyelets in there and some rib. The afterthought heel again has not been blocked. And then her umbrella toe. And I do have two. Hold on a second. Let me put the other one on a blocker so that you can see. I did not match up the stripes. The yarn is Premier wool-free socks in the Oceanic colorway. When I had bought it, I did not know it was self-striping, but that's okay. I really like them, and I think it goes well with this pattern. And I have made a pair of these for myself shortly after the pattern was released, top down in Patton's Croy socks, and I really enjoy wearing them. They're very squishy with this ribbing eyelet pattern on the top. It definitely gives that massagey type of feel when you're wearing it. And let me show you here if that's better, so you can see the eyelets. And yeah, I did my mom's sock in a 60 stitch 2.75 millimeter needle, 2x2 ribbing, and other than that, everything else matches the umbrella socks pattern except for this stitch pattern. And as I mentioned, this is a patron only pattern, so unfortunately it is not available to purchase. But yeah, my mom has already tried these on, and I told her she couldn't have them until I was done podcasting, so I am podcasting them for you now, and she will get these when she gets home from work today. So these are my All Is Calm umbrella socks for my mom. So that's pretty much all that I've got to share with you today. I can tell you that I am thinking about projects to work on soon. Some of those things being baby knits. My cousin had called a month or so ago and let us know that him and his wife are expecting their first child. So I will be knitting them a baby blanket and probably a baby vertebrae and maybe some booties and little mittens. I do have a color in mind. They did tell me what color that their nursery will be, but I can't find that color, so I'm going with something a little darker. Plus, with babies, darker sometimes is better since things happen. But yeah, so some baby knits on the horizon. And then I am already starting to think about gift knits for my dad. I'm thinking maybe I'm going to knit him a pair of socks this year. Last year I knit him a sweater. So this year I'm thinking socks. And then for his wife, I'm thinking maybe a shawl. I have an idea of what I want to do for her. I did order some yarn, so I just need for that to come in. So those are 3, 4, 5, 6 projects that I'm thinking about doing in the near future. One project that I hadn't talked about on this episode is my City Limits sweater. If you've been following my channel recently, you'll know that I'm doing a knitting diary series of videos on that sweater. So I'm pretty much taking you through everything that I would have normally talked about in a Yarnie update, except these videos are specifically on the City Limit sweater. So if you're interested in knowing how I'm coming along with that project, definitely check those videos out. I have 4 of them out right now. The latest one came out last week, so you can see what I'm up to on that. And then at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that I would be talking about the links down in the description box below. So I realized that there have been some accessibility issues with Ravelry and their new look. Lots of podcasters that I've been watching have been trying to figure out ways to help their viewers find these patterns or like information on things that they've been working on. Basically things that you'd find on a Ravelry project page, but listed elsewhere because it's causing migraines and seizures in some people and things like that. I actually have a blog. I've run a blog for several years, and it's kind of my hub of all of my hobbies. So I do post about mostly books over there. I do repost all of my YouTube videos from this channel as well as my booktube channel. If you didn't know, I do also run a booktube channel where I talk about books and manga, so I link that down in the description box below in case you're interested. But I thought that since I've started these like knitting diary type videos, that I would just put some blog posts called knitting diaries. Basically what I would have on a Ravelry project page: the name of the project, the name of the pattern, what yarn I'm using, what needle I'm using, and any other like diary entries, if you will, on my knitting of the project in a like blog post. I'm thinking that's how I'm going to do it from now. So all of the links down below link to my Ravelry project pages. I am working on making those blog posts. So if there is a blog post and I've gotten around to creating one for the projects that I talked about in this video, you will see 2 links down for each project. You will see the Ravelry link and then you will see my blog post link. So just be aware that if they're not there at the time that you're viewing this video, they will eventually be there. I'm not gonna go and do that for all of the previous finished items, unfortunately. I do have so many, but I will be striving to create those blog posts and those knitting diaries for each project going forward. So starting from this video, you can expect to see those blog posts on my blog. So my blog is linked down in the description box below. Like I said, the links below will have the my Ravelry project page linked, and if I've already created the knitting diary for it, you will also see my blog post link. So I think that's gonna work. I am not quite sure yet if it will work going forward, just because on items that I am working on, I want to be able to go in and say, okay, on 7/2, cast on however many stitches that I did, or if I have like any thoughts about what I'm going to do for this project from then, just put like the date and then a little like snippet of my ideas, or how many things I cast on, how many stitches I cast on, any thoughts I have about what I'm planning to do for the project. And then let's say like a week from now I've hit a problem, I'm going to put like the next date and then some more like text. Basically like a diary entry, but each blog post is going to be specific to only the one project. So each project will have its own blog post, and I'll just update that as I have things to talk about for the project. What I don't know is if I go ahead and update that and move the post date to the date that I've updated the blog post, will that change the link? That I don't know yet. So please have patience with me. I am trying this out just to help out any viewers that may be having issues with Ravelry. So those are my plans for project pages going forward. Let me know if you have any other ideas, or if you think my plan is a feasible one, a viable one, or if you think I'm going to have problems with it in the future. I do know that another maker, Lisa Makes Things, she does have a YouTube channel, which I will link down in the description box below. She is working on an alternative website to Ravelry. So if you are interested in hearing about that, definitely check her out. I will, again, have her link down in the description box below. But that's pretty much all I've got to talk to you about today. Let me know what you've been working on. Let me know if you have worked on any of these projects. I'd love to know. Or if you have any knit-alongs that you're participating in at the moment. I hope you're all doing great. I hope you're all safe and healthy. And until next time, take care. And Smile always. Bye.